Welcome back, guys. We have some more unsealed documents, including a timeline that seems to allegedly, what do I know, expose Taylor Swift for a lying liar who lies. So we're going to look at that today. I am running into technology issues today. We had, sorry, I'm just trying to get everything. Nothing is working today. We're just going to roll with it. I just hope the internet keeps going. We have had blizzards for basically 48 hours straight. So technology is not working, but we're hopefully going to make it through. Hopefully I can keep the internet going. How are you guys doing today? Let's pull it up. Let's get right into it. Where do I have it? Plug in your computer. The computer is plugged in, but if the power goes out and the internet goes out, we're shit out of luck. That's my grandma would say. So it's not going to help us. All right, my friends. And the camera's not working. Nothing's really working. But yeah, we have about a foot of snow already. Yeah. That's what we're dealing with already. Okay. So we are going to jump into what was revealed in regards to the timeline. So if you've been on X, you've been seeing even People Magazine, TMZ, everyone, page 6, everyone is running with it right now. It looks like Taylor is definitely lying. It also looks like there were 2 meetings she was at the penthouse for. So the original one where she claims that she had just walked past, she had no idea who Justin was. How would I know who my friend's boss is? Like, that makes no sense. I didn't know who he was. And then she was also allegedly there for when Ryan and Blake, I assume, were berating Justin Baldoni. Now, here's the thing I have to say. I have been telling you all about her for a long time. I have been here the whole time talking about her branding psychology, the use of Easter eggs, which is a very effective branding psychology tool. How even the Eras Tour is one of the biggest branding psychology events in recent memory. It's based on nostalgia marketing. How she spoke at it in the speeches she would give, we're all nostalgia marketing. I have spoken about Taylor Swift for a long ass time. So I almost want to be like, I told you guys, because I've exposed her brand and I have shouted her out many times where I've said, her brand is smart in many ways. I think it crosses lines. And I've said that many times that I think it crosses a lot of ethical lines in terms of the use of branding psychology and marketing psychology. It's not lines I would go over, and it's not lines I would ever help someone else go over. But I have said good things about her branding and the use of psychology in her brand. I've also called out her PR more times than I can count. And every time I call out her PR, I lose like 200 subscribers. People get butthurt. They get pissed. Apparently, Taylor doesn't use PR. She's just out here throwing money around at everyone out of the goodness of her heart. And she might actually care. But the fact this shit gets public, I hate to say it to you guys, is for PR. Like, it's going to be on Hinge today. So, either you want to hear the truth about Taylor Swift and finally hear it where I'm like not beating around the bush and trying to be super professional about it, or you might want to tune out for this because the reason it hits the public is PR. So I've had people over time say, well, it's not her fault that people go to the media about her increase in bonus for her truckers. She's the one going to the media. She's the one going to the media. What are you talking about? There's a thing called NDAs. What are you talking about? People that defend her and they're like, well, it's not her fault, or, the people that work for her go to the media. That's such bullshit. She's the one going to the media. What are you talking about? And it's clear you've never worked for celebrities because those are ironclad contracts. When people reach out to me that are public figures, I have to sign NDAs before I even know who it is. And y'all think that her truckers just get to go to People Magazine and talk about their salary? It's absurd. When I get inquiries in my email to even do like a human design session, with a celebrity or public figure, they have people that reach out to me and they say, are you willing to sign this NDA? And then we can discuss who it is. But you want me to believe that Taylor Swift, the biggest brand in the world, doesn't have people sign NDAs where they're not allowed to go run a People magazine? It gets out because she wants it to get out. Look at an example of the wildfires. She apparently, if she had already donated, no one knew about it. But we only knew that she donated 10 organizations after her name was added to headlines with Blake Lively. All of a sudden, she had an Instagram story. And I've talked about this too. All of a sudden, there's an Instagram story saying, be like Taylor. Taylor donated to these 10 organizations. And the argument here of like, yeah, but the children that she's helping and donating to, they don't know it's PR, or these organizations still benefit. Sure, they still benefit, but where's that energy for Ryan Reynolds then? Because y'all that are defending Taylor Swift, when Taylor donates and you're like, well, you know, the kids don't know that it's okay. Well, then the same energy has to go for Ryan. Kids don't know, right? So it's no big deal. He's doing it for good PR. It's no big deal he's doing it to hide shady shit. It's no big deal he's doing it for SEO manipulation. It's no big deal that he's doing it because he's not a good person and he's trying to hide the fact he's not a good person. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Because you can also donate to people without putting your name, Taylor Swift, on the donation. That's literally a thing. In fact, I don't think I've ever received a payment from anyone that's a public figure that has their name attached to it. Now I think about it. I don't think I've ever received a payment from a celebrity or public figure that's like, so-and-so sent you X amount of money. It comes from someone else. So anyway, guys, like I've been talking about this for so long, and it's a part of it is just so frustrating because it's like I have experience in the field and then people fight me over that experience. They're like, you're wrong. We don't have to believe me. That's fine. But then go off actually. But this is what happens. And you can, like, at the end of the day, I don't want to get into it too much today, but you can go back in the history of Taylor Swift. Even go back and look with new lens what went down with Kanye. I'm not going to talk about it here, but just if you have some extra time, go back and just look at it with new eyes. Oh, I agree, Jill. I don't think Taylor Swift or Blake Lively ever had a falling out. We got played. They got me for a little bit. They did get me for a little bit. And I'm so embarrassed to say that they got me for a little bit, but I do think they're still just as close as they ever were. I was talking about this on X. When you look at what came from that whole situation of, you know, someone going to Brian Freeman, and apparently Taylor had this information and she was blackmailed. Nothing good came of it for Justin or Brian Freeman. That started a massive shitstorm in PR, like massive shitstorm. In fact, I would say that situation was a catalyst for a lot of bad press for Justin. Could be a coincidence. Could definitely be a coincidence. I don't think so. So, you know, I was almost fooled by the New Heights podcast. What did I tell you guys was going to happen? Y'all, okay. I'm just giving myself flowers this morning. Like, what did I tell you guys at the start of the year? Does anyone remember what I said Taylor was going to do in her brand this year? I said she was going to do hospital visits, which she did. I said, what else? That she was going to do a concert, a pop-up concert, a la in the vein of All American Rejects. Remember, I said and Miley Cyrus did one too. I said she's going to do a pop-up concert. So it's like old school Taylor, right? Like showing up, and the videos are still up. Y'all can go and watch them. She was going to do a pop-up concert. So it was kind of like old school Taylor, like in it with the people, right? Like how she started out, which she did. She showed up at Travis's thing in just like jeans and a t-shirt or tank top or something and pretended it was like impromptu, which it wasn't. So I called that. And I called her brand shifting away from almost like this untouchable celebrity to more the like personable. And again, going back to the roots. And then we get a freaking podcast. So I said, and I didn't call the New Heights podcast, but I said like some kind of interview in the vein of like call her daddy, which in fairness is a podcast, in the vein of like call her daddy or the, what is it, Hot Ones or whatever, the Wings one, like in that vein, she would do an interview like that to again be more relatable, because you don't want to be this untouchable billionaire and be in the middle of a scandal. And so the start of this year, I called all of her moves, and then we got and the other one I said that they used for PR for a long time was back and forth. So every time Taylor would get kind of bad headlines, you'd get a story pop up. Are they getting married? Are they not getting married? Is this a new detail? Is this a new clue? And it was like you could time it. It was so predictable. And so I had said that, and I had prior to the interview, I said they were probably going to announce an engagement. I thought they were going to announce it on the podcast. They didn't. They used it as two separate events. From someone that's in a PR scandal, probably a good move to have it as two separate events, because you can extend the news cycle, right? So if you have it all in one, if you have her on the podcast, which is the potential for a big event, and then you have the announcement on the podcast, you shorten the news cycle. But if you have her on the podcast and then shortly after have the announcement of the news, you extend the good news cycle. It allows you to continue to flood the zone and continue to push down any bad headlines that she might be associated with in regards to Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. So if she is genuinely just doing it, going on a podcast, doing pop-up concerts, I call the donations, all these donations and everything, because it's just out of the goodness of her heart. How did someone in the industry call every single fucking move? So this is Taylor. And I saw someone say she's a brand, not a person. Exactly. And this is the thing that you have to keep in mind is like, she's a personal brand, but at this point, it's no different than like Nike, right? It's like a corporation at this point in time. I don't know, guys. I have a lot I could say about, what about New Heights releasing the old episode, praising Blake? Was that intentional? Oh, yeah. People had said, well, they're going through the archives of what's in the members only and putting it out. It's such bullshit. Of course it was intentional. There's no realm of reality where people aren't aware in their world, even if they have nothing to do with the exact things that are being released at the exact time. No realm of reality for a brand of that size and a public figure brand of that size that is associated with the Taylor Swift that it was accidental. You just don't post it. If you don't want to be associated, you just don't post it. She went play by play, step by step by step by step. All right, let's actually swing over before we get into this. I want to play Little Girl Attorney's video about these documents that we're about to get into, because I actually, well, I don't know, I say actually like, I really like her overall. So that came out. I wasn't mean like, for once, I actually like what she had to say. I always like what she has to say, but I think it is appropriate to play it before we even get into the documents, so that we see like the legal side, because I can give you the ignore Ashley at your own risk. Yeah. I can give you the PR side, but I can't give you the legal side. So what do I know? Somehow I think TK is hyped up by her fame, but I'm not sure she's his type. He seems more a bad boy type. Just an observation. Oh, Travis Kelce. Oh, well, I'm like, how many subscribers do I want to lose today? I have a whole opinion on the relationship and the wedding. Thank you so much, Jill. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, careful. Like, do I want my account reported again? You guys are funny. Do it. I think it's all PR. We can talk more about that another day, but I think it's all PR. And the more that comes out and the more of everything of it, I'm more convinced. And you don't have to agree, that's fine, but when you start like this is especially a brand that's so thick in branding psychology, marketing psychology, all of it. You have to this is what well, you don't have to, but I imagine if you're watching my channel, which is all about exposing this shit, then, I don't know why you wouldn't want to. Oh, we need more likes. Hit the like, my friends. Thank you. Um, we have to remove ourselves. Even with Taylor Swift, I've never been a huge fan. She's not my music overall. I really do like Canceled. I think it's catchy, which I'm like ashamed to say because it's just a horrible song when you hear about it. It's like, I don't care how much of assholes my friends are because I'm an asshole. Just don't get caught and don't pull me into your shit. That is literally the premise of the song Canceled, but I do think it's catchy. But I don't know. Let's just listen to what Little Girl Attorney has to say. Let's just listen.
I had a short flight today and was able to review the timeline document that was recently unsealed. And here are my thoughts. So, this was an attachment to a motion for spoliation sanctions that was filed by Lively in October, about a month ago. And it attaches as an exhibit documents that were produced by Heath and the Wayfair parties. And it looks to be an email communication between Abel, someone named Mitz, and Jamie Heath, attaching a timeline of events. The emails are dated July 30th and July 31st, 2024. So this would have been a week or so before the movie even premiered. The first thing I notice is that there's a couple of versions of the timeline in this document. So it's possible that there are two different versions coming from two different times. It makes sense because one of the versions has things that happened after the email was sent, so sometime in August, that wouldn't have been prepared by July 31st if they're talking about events that happened in August, early August. So to me, this looks like some working document that a version of it was produced. Obviously, Lively attached this to her motion for spoliation sanctions because she or her lawyers perceived that it would be helpful to prove that something such and such thing was not produced and why they deserve the sanctions that they requested. And these documents got unsealed, so now we can look at them together. It lays out in some degree of detail what transpired between Lively, Baldoni, Heath, the Wayfair parties, with the production calendar also interspersed in the timeline. So remember, this is before there was any CRD complaint. This is before there was any lawsuit. This was before the movie even premiered. So this is communication that Wayfair has put together for their crisis management PR, presumably to deal with the ramifications of what was spinning out in the media around this time with the incoming release of the movie. And in a lot of ways, it reads like the Wayfair complaint, which we've already seen, and some of the fact sections and some of the other filings that we've seen about what actually happened behind the scenes in this movie. It talks about when scripts were changed, when assistant directors were fired, when composers were fired, when the Vegas shoot was canceled, all of the things that had happened and the context in which they had happened. Again, context is important here in this case. It provides a window into what was going on and at their present state of mind when they put this together. This document bolsters for me the narrative that we saw in Wayfair's complaint against Lively about what actually transpired on set and the crisis that ensued as a result of that. You see that within the timeline, there's even a line item for an HR training with respect to respect in the workplace that took place sometime in May of 2020.
Yeah, was that like forced because there's too much gratitude? Show respect, be more miserable. So ridiculous.
You see some of the allegations that we later see in the complaint come up. For example, it says that sometime between the end of April and the beginning of May, Justin makes comments about praying for Blake Lively's father, and that she later used this as some infraction in a complaint that she brought to Wayfair. But this is folded.
Can you imagine someone says, I'm praying for you and your father, and that turns into a complaint that's used against you in a federal lawsuit? I mean, I still struggle to wrap my head around this.
Between concerns that the assistant director had, for example, with respect to Blake changing scenes, firing the people who wrote the script, wanting to rewrite scenes. So you see some of these allegations, and when they come up in the context of all the other things that are going on set. Nothing on here strikes me as a really kind of clear sexual harassment complaint. You have on June 1st, 2023, Lively taking the assistant director, Baldoni, and Heath into her trailer to discuss her complaints. And included in that, she mentions the sexy comment that Justin made to Jenny Slate. She mentions the birth scene showing. She also apparently tells Baldoni that he should not cry anymore, which I just find so bizarre. She accused Heath of looking at her in her trailer, and she says that she was offended that Heath asked Miss Lively's sister for a hug because that somehow minimized her concerns. And yeah, that's about it. The rest of the line items depicts a very difficult to work with actress who refuses to fly back, who has all these demands, who is pushing back, who's causing a lot of changes, who is frustrating a lot of people other than the people that she is suing at this point. And then, of course, you see all of the line items about her wanting to control the edit and the actual test runs of the film and how they did, and the timeline, the complete breakdown of how she wanted to change the movie to fit her edits and all the other people that this impacted, other than the players that we know very. Interestingly, the first time Taylor Swift comes up is in a meeting that happened in April of 2023 when Baldoni went over to Blake and Ryan's penthouse, and Ryan unleashed on Baldoni for how horrible it was that Baldoni would ask about a woman's weight.
So I just want to clarify, there are two different instances that Taylor was at the penthouse. So someone had responded on my TikTok yesterday and it said, just to make sure everyone knows, there's two instances now where Taylor was at the penthouse. So the one where apparently it's a rooftop scene and she was walking past him, and then the berating one. So those are two completely different situations, and she was there for both. So anyone that's, look, Blakey is crazy. Blakey is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. She is high on her own supply. And I think part of her being high on her own supply is being surrounded by the likes of Ryan Reynolds, Taylor Swift, and Hugh Jackman, big power players in their industry. I think she thinks she's more important than she is. And I think she is a narcissistic individual on her own. And I think being around individuals such as them have inflated that and made it just that much worse. Like they're good for each other in the sense of they're just birds of a feather, but bad for each other in the sense that like it's just made the situation worse for her. But yeah, there are two different situations where Taylor was there. Taylor And in her statement, never mentioned that she was there for the beratement of Justin Baldoni. Her statement was she was walking, or sorry, a source. Her source was saying that, she was just walking in as he was walking out. Like, how is she supposed to know who her friend's boss is? This is ridiculous. So clearly caught in lies. I just have zero patience for all four of these people.
And claimed that he was fat shaming her. It seems like from the notes here that Baldoni was very embarrassed. He apologized, even was in tears. And this was all in the presence of Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman. That meeting in April of 2023 reads to me as a attempted power move by these Hollywood elite, these powerhouses of celebrity that were throwing their weight around to make sure that Baldoni knew who was in charge of that movie. Because everything that ensued after that was about control of the movie. It was not about asserting a claim of a hostile work environment. It was not about a retaliation campaign that they allege. It was about asserting control over a movie. And this timeline is actually going to be very, very helpful evidence for Wayfarer to show and depict that their actions were motivated by a defensive posture, a place where they were trying to salvage a movie, salvage a workplace for other people, and ultimately salvage their reputations. And this whole thing was created to hand over to the crisis management people so that they would be equipped to handle any onslaught of media that came their way as a result of what the lively parties were able to spin in the media. It does not read to me as a document of how to destroy Lively's reputation. It reads to me as a document to help the crisis management people know how to answer things as they come up. That is exactly what their job is to do. There are so many more nuggets in this timeline.
All right, so that's everything she has to say about that, and I agree. It was a power grab. There's no way we have to remove ourselves. I'll get to this. There's no way. I do not believe for a bloody second. The people that are on my post saying, they could have just been in the other room. Like, they probably didn't know what was going on. They were blindsided. This is why people like Taylor Swift are so fucking rich. I'm sorry. This is why Taylor's so fucking rich. Because people are that gullible. You really think the most powerful people in Hollywood were just there by chance, that they had no idea what was going to happen? Or the people that are saying, Taylor Swift is probably caught off guard and didn't know what to do, and she was stuck in the apartment too. Yeah, those are also comments I'm getting. Okay, so all those people in that room, probably except Blake Lively, have incredible pull in Hollywood, are like the biggest names in their respective fields in Hollywood. And Taylor still is the top dog in that room. And you want to tell me, you want me to buy that Taylor Swift could have been like, what the fuck is going on? Chill out. She couldn't have said that? She couldn't have walked away? Or we're to believe that she was so shocked, Pikachu, that Ryan was yelling because, remember, he's soft parents and he doesn't yell. There's no yelling in his house. That she didn't know who they were. That she didn't know the games they were up to, even though she writes about it in her own songs. Even though in her own songs, which y'all Swifties go on and on about how it's her life, she writes about her life. So she writes about her life, except what, in Canceled? Except when she tells everyone that her only problem is that her friends get caught and they have to be better at hiding their shit. So everything else is true. Everything else is her life except that. Oh, okay. That's why she's so rich. because people just buy anything she feeds them. That's also the psychology of her brand. Part of the branding psychology in Taylor's brand, we've talked about this before. In fact, that video that I said this got so many fucking downvotes from Swifties and probably bot accounts. If you've seen that video here, keep in mind, Taylor Swift has one of the largest paid followers and bot accounts I've ever seen. If I go through celebrities, I can't find, other than the Kardashians, she is tied with the Kardashians, in fairness, she's tied with them. So this brand is not just so rife and thick with branding psychology. Again, Easter eggs. It's a cute way of saying branding psychology to get people to convert. It's just a cute way of saying it. So she's not only using such strong branding psychology, which I do branding psychology. That's what I help people with. I just created even a new offer for it. I just created the BG5 profit potential sessions to help people leverage psychology in one of their core offers. So I should probably grab you guys that link just in case you have a brand. But I literally use branding psychology. But as I said at the beginning, I do believe there is a line. I believe there's an ethical line that people should not cross within branding psychology and when they're leveraging branding psychology. So that is the profit potential session. It's 2 hours if you have an offer that you want to refine. So I believe in it, but I think she crosses the line. But on top of that, so you have to keep in mind, not only does Taylor have branding psychology, and I would say her brand is probably one of the most psychologically rich brands, which some people might call manipulation. Not me. Some people. Not only that, but she has one of the largest bot and paid followings. So you have to keep in mind, say, for example, I don't know. Well, let's just go with Life of a Showgirl. Say it's like crap and people don't like it. But now you have 1 million paid accounts and bots out there talking about how amazing it is and just give it more listens and keep listening to it. And I really love this song and I really love this and I love that about Taylor. And remember the Eras tour and da 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 da. Like they're just posting all this positive shit. That one is, astroturfing. But 2, it's the same thing that Blake is concerned about in regards to Justin. I'm not saying Justin did this, but this is something that goes on in the industry where you have a bunch of fake accounts that are promoting something or just saying something positive, and it genuinely, research shows time and time again that it actually changes your mind. There was research done in Reddit on this, which I think should have been illegal because no one, including Reddit or anyone that participated in the interview, knew they were doing research. But they did this research in Reddit where they had people going in and posting things that was against like the sub and what they call it, a sub on Reddit, but against the sub and against what people originally thought. And they showed how fake accounts can convert people's beliefs. So, you're not just working against the branding psychology of her brand, but you're working against maybe millions of bots and paid followers as well. They're like, no, it's amazing. Just give it more listens. And then you think you're crazy, you're gaslit. And then you keep listening. And then you eventually love it or you buy the thing. And it's also with her brand, the way it's built around community and identity. And when people say, and I've said this in the past, when people say, well, it's your choice to buy her 75th version of the album. Yeah. However, it's also not really to an extent, honestly. And I am very big on growth mindset, not being the victim to things. And like I said, I also will call out sketchy ass practices within my field because I don't like seeing the field be treated in a certain way. So when you have a brand that is so strong, even you look at Swifties, the name Swifties, it's an identity. I've had Swifties end up in my DMs where they're like, you don't understand. She's the only one that gets me. She understands me. She goes through the same things as me. And I was like, yeah, I do understand that's a problem because I understand why she's doing that. I understand why she's creating it like that. I understand the psychology of why her brand's been built like that because you will keep buying as soon as your identity is associated with Taylor and your identity is a Swiftie and, she sees you. She's the only one that sees you. Any verbiage like that, one, you're going to defend her more than a PR person is. she's built an army and insulated herself within an army that she actually doesn't need to intervene. She doesn't need a PR person because the Swifties will deal with it. But number two, you do start to question how much choice, when you're at that level of like infiltration of the subconscious mind, how much choice do people legitimately have in purchasing? And that's the ethical question. And that's the ethical problem I've always had with her brand, is for people that are right in it, the question does become, do people have legitimate choice where they're consciously aware of their decisions? They're consciously aware that what's happening. And that's always been my issue with her brand. So going back to Leo with the, we have to remove ourselves. I know, I was like, I'm not going to talk about that. Let's just listen to Little Girl Attorney. And then here we are talking about it. You have to try and remove yourself from that and think almost as the observer of your own thoughts, especially to begin questioning a brand that maybe you've been purchasing from and identify with for a very long time. And here's the thing, community names like the Law Nerds, for example, with Emily D. Baker, community names and names for a community is branding psychology. It can be used positively. It can be used negatively. It can be used as manipulation. But, you know, even Emily D. Baker, the use of Law Nerds and Paw Nerds is an example of that. All right, let me catch up on what's going on. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much, MDR. It's so nice to see you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, the animals will be so grateful as we get them ready for winter and the blizzard. Some good farm juju first. That's so kind. Now, in a rare defense of Blake Lively, probably she was hypersensitive to her weight, probably. But I think Ryan Reynolds used this and fanned the flames. Oh, I've no doubt. Yeah. Also, for a man to verbally berate another man to tears over hours borders on psychotic. I fear for Blake Lively. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That whole, sorry, I have to turn the heat down. I turned it up because Annie took a bath and she's shaking. And now I'm sweating. Yeah, it's, you know, it's not, it doesn't sound like a very healthy home environment. Maybe that's why Ryan Reynolds was getting ahead of all of this with the I soft parent and there's no yelling in my home because he knew all this shit was going to come out. That's a good point. Yeah, there's so many people in the wrong in this case against Justin. It's so heart-wrenching. After seeing Jenny S. and Blake's interviews about how anyone think the word sexy be offensive. Yeah, they use it so much. It's just part of like their everyday language. It's just wild. But anyway, yeah. Oh yeah, Gigi and Bradley need some heat as well. Yeah. Taylor and Hugh are really getting it because they're one of the biggest names, right? I had someone like do whataboutism on a X post. I mean, what about Hugh? Of course, the woman's getting dragged again. And it's like, I've been talking about Taylor's brand for a long ass time. So one, don't make it whataboutism with Hugh, but two, Hugh is getting it. Like all of the headlines are Hugh and Taylor. Hugh is getting it just as bad as Taylor right now. Which is funny because I think it was just like 2 days ago that he went like Instagram official with his girlfriend, which I don't know if that was a good or a bad PR move. Just reminds people that you cheated on your wife. I personally don't think it was a good PR move, but you know, all right, Hugh. I'm very sad about because I loved Hugh Jackman from like the OG X-Men days. OG X-Men. And I'm not shocked, obviously. I mean, he's in business with Ryan, with their sale team in Australia. They have a bunch of business partnerships. He's never publicly said anything against Blake and Ryan. He's been next to Ryan the whole freaking time. They're together more than him and his wife. And I think also the reason why I am just so pissed in regards to Taylor is her team like had the audacity to make statements around this and also go so hard on PR to try and bury the truth. Shannon, so nice to see you. Ashley, love you. Thank you. Off topic. I think that both Katie Case and Melissa Nathan could be telling the truth in their own way, but if one had to be lying, Katie Case seems to be the obvious option. I have a totally opposite view on that I talk about, but I respect your views on that. I respect other people's views, of course, but I have a totally different view. the person with the most to lose, in my opinion, is Melissa Nathan. She is involved in the lawsuit between CoffeeZilla and same with Jed Wallace, CoffeeZilla and Paul Logan, for potential not above board PR. She is now an official member of the lawsuit in Rebel Wilson's case. So her name was added, and Amanda Ghost was the last I saw an update from Amanda, was looking to connect the pieces that the Jed in the text messages are Jed Wallace. I don't think Melissa's necessarily lying, even though she is lying, because she was playing with words. Well, no, I don't build them. Okay. But you see right now, everyone's throwing Melissa under the bus. Rebel Wilson was like, boom. Rebel Wilson couldn't kick Melissa and Brian Freeman under the bus fast enough for that website. This is not good, guys. And I don't want to get too off track on this because I've done other videos on it, and I'm sure a lot more will come up in regards to Melissa with Amanda Ghost and everything coming out there, potentially even other lawsuits. Like, I don't think you guys realize there's potential other lawsuits. They are allegedly connected to websites that are smearing SA victims. Like, there's a lot of potential issues that are coming up for the two of them. There's a lot to lose. Not only a lot to lose, but these websites are not accepted in the industry. They're not acceptable practices. This is also why Jed's been dancing around, right? I think not actually Golden had talked about this, but I can't remember what video where she said, you know, part of his problem is how does she word it? You could hide this stuff under, it's not intellectual property. I can't think of what the word I'm looking for is, like industry secrets or whatever. But she said, this is not actually Golden said, the problem is no one wants to admit they do it. No one wants to admit they actually do it. So no one's like saying, I'm going to hide how I smear people under my industry practices, like my secret practices, because no one wants to take accountability for it. So I definitely respect everyone that thinks Katie's lying for sure. Melissa has a lot on the line right now. A lot on the line, especially in the Rebel Wilson case. So no, she's not going to admit to that. She's going to dance around words as much as she can because there's a defamation lawsuit that her name got added to. All right, let's go over to the documents. Okay, so this was 874, I believe, Exhibit 17. That was originally filed under seal. The craziest part for me of this, guys, is that Blake thought this helped her case. What? Like, that is the craziest part for me, is she thought this helped her case? The website was from View of Former Employees, aka Katie Kate. Well, no, they were hired. They were hired by someone. The rumor is that The Rock hired them. When you start to put the pieces together of all the websites that are linked back to Jed, and I've talked about this before, Katie Case has a very specific fingerprint on how she writes. Everyone does. Your copywriting is very specific. That's why people hire you. I don't know. What do I know? Throw it in the fuck it bucket. I don't want another subpoena or lawsuit. But the current rumor is that The Rock hired them. And who it's thought to have been that Melissa says, because it's not Rebel, that people are saying, well, Melissa said that someone tried to hire her and she turned them down. So it's assumed to be the Alexander brothers. And a good friend of mine, Chris, who's in PR as well, had figured that out And it's because of the use of they over and over again, where it's not redacted. They, this, they wanted that. And the Alexander brothers ended up with a smear website that appears to be linked to Jed. We've talked about that website as well. But it seems based on what Melissa is saying that, after she declined to do anything for them. So I don't know how much she did for them, or if she said no from the get-go when she realized that she was going to have to smear SA victims and trafficking victims, allegedly. But yeah, it's I really don't. Someone was they were hired by someone. That's what I think a lot of people are missing. Smear bagels, not people. Oh man, now I'm hungry for bagels. Oh. I don't know. I don't know if it's the cold weather and I'm turning into a bear or something, but I've been eating so many carbs. I was just shoving my face in the kitchen with pizza right before coming live. Yeah, thank you so much for supporting the farm and the channel, guys. Those that are newer, we have a farm animal sanctuary. So everything from the channel goes straight to helping the animals. Their feed bills, their feed bills on grain alone are around $2,000 a month. And then their hay bills, their straw and shavings and everything. So I appreciate you guys so much. Robin, it's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for the support. Oh, yeah, or Scooter Braun. Yeah, the rocker Scooter Braun. Stephanie Jones is going after Tide because Scooter Braun invested and or is in charge of that company. Yeah, I'm trying to figure all that out in regards to Scooter Braun, but that's actually a good point too. It might be Scooter. That's a good point. But yeah, The Rock is really he had a really bad experience. Okay, let's get back to the timeline. So we won't go word for word and read everything, but let's go from top bottom. So this is just putting things together. So Mitz works closely with Jamie at Wayfair Studios. And she says, I'm just putting a timeline of events over the last 2 years just to get everyone up to speed. So basically exactly what Little Girl Attorney was saying is they're just trying to have everything. Jen Abel's tagged there or CC'd there so that the team knows what happened, like the step-by-step of what happened. So we see pre-production, Justin flew to Jersey to begin prep. So this is March 6, 2023. JB meets first with Lizzie, reaches out to Jennifer, wellness coach, to request a probiotic recommendation for Blake Lively as she's been breastfeeding and taking antibiotics. And that's who Blake thinks is a, weight loss specialist. And then it says here, need to find actual text to Blake Lively, but JB and JH spoke about this via text. So more than likely text was sent to BL on same day. So we see pre-production sometimes between April 21st and April 24th. Justin had a phone call with Blake's trainer and asked about her weight. I would also like to know what actually went down on that phone call. I've been honest with this where, maybe it wasn't even worded in a certain way, right? Like it might not even been worded in a certain way. Would I have, if one of my clients came to me when I was a personal trainer, was like asking for someone else's weight and they needed it for this circumstance where they had a bad back, I'd still be like, that's kind of a weird question because I'm your trainer and I'm writing you your program. Do you not trust me? So I find it I just have a hard time as someone that was a personal trainer for a long time, imagining myself in that scenario where someone would ask me the weight of someone else, where I wouldn't think in my head that's kind of a weird question. But I don't understand how either way that it evolved into anything scandalous. Like Don Saladino or whatever his name is, we've also done exposés on him, could have literally just said, don't worry, man. Don't worry. I got you. I have your program set out so that you're going to be fine. It doesn't matter what she weighs because your program is set up in a way that you are going to be able to lift her. Don't worry about it. It's all good. And it could have just ended at that. But it didn't. It had to turn into something crazy. And then I think maybe Justin was just concerned because the program was shit. This is something I've said for a long time. Just because you get to the top of your industry doesn't mean you're the best at what you do. And I think there was a text where there was a small portion of the program, and I was like, that's a shit program. Like, ChatGPT could probably give you a better one. So maybe Justin was legitimately concerned that the program was shit and wasn't going to get him ready. So really the trainer's job is not to turn this into some like sketchy ass situation, but to just be like, don't worry, your program's set up so you'll be able to lift. So he's just a shit disturber, that Dawn. Pre-production, somewhere around April 25th, Justin had the conversation with Blake and Ryan regarding her weight. So Justin went over to Ryan and Blake's penthouse, and Ryan unloaded on Justin how horrible it was that Justin would ask about a woman's weight, claimed that JB was fat shaming Blake. Justin was completely embarrassed and apologized and was even shedding some tears. Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman were also present in the apartment at this time. So I'm seeing defenders of Taylor and Hugh be like, well, this is a big penthouse. It's not like a one-bedroom apartment. Again, I highly doubt Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman were off playing checkers in the next room. Hey, and I'll apologize and I'll take back my words. If there's pictures of them and 50 people show up that weren't paid and have no dog in the fight, that they were literally in a soundproof room playing checkers and they had no idea this was going on. But you are I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I'm on board with little girl attorney that this was a power grab. It was set up to be intimidating. Like, I just want you to put yourself in Justin's shoes. Even if it wasn't a lineup of Taylor, Hugh, Ryan, and Blake, and they weren't just all staring you down. Well, Ryan yells at you. Imagine being Justin. I want you to put yourself in his shoes. Walking into that penthouse. That in of itself is going to be so scary and so intimidating when you walk into a penthouse and you have these power players there. So regardless, if every single one of them was just standing staring him down while Ryan berated Justin or not, them being there 100% was a move. And I won't believe anything different ever. Thank you so much. You guys are so kind. Oh my goodness. I appreciate you guys so much. This is more proof that JB is innocent. I agree. If Jen and Melissa are so obvious with juvenile websites and Justin is innocent, no website. Also, did you see the cover letter referenced in document 177 that Casey threatened? Okay. That's so kind. No, let me write that down. Cover letter referenced in 177. All right, if we have time, we'll run back. Or if that's in regards to Casey, I'll maybe look at it on another live. I don't doubt that someone threatened her, she was threatened or something, but I still don't believe Melissa's not lying through her teeth. I'm flipped, and that's okay. I still love you. We can disagree. Thank you so much, Michelle, and your puppers. I love all the puppers. Thank you, Ashley, for helping us all be better at evaluating all this PR stuff. I'm so glad, mainstream media, etc. That's always my goal. I know we'll never look at mainstream media the same again. That is my goal on this channel, honestly. Is we all just think critically about it doesn't mean you don't like someone anymore, right? A certain brand or a certain person or whatever. It's just we look critically at things. Also, can you do an Amazon wish list for your farm sanctuary? Oh, that is a great idea. That's a great idea. Thank you for putting that out there. I will get on that because yes, there is with winter coming. That would be such a huge help with winter. We every year when you have a farm, every year this happens to you. I'm going to say the words to be like, but we should have known. They were never prepared for like blizzard weather. So we have to get like all of the heated waters going and all of that stuff. So that is actually a fantastic idea. Thank you for putting it out there. Because winter is it's a lot on a farm with all the animals. All right. So we have that. And then April 26th, Eric Damon, costume designer, meets with Blake to go through wardrobe. Eric shares that wardrobe fittings are moving slowly and he's worried about getting everything done in time. Like April 26th, Justin and Blake worked on the script and had rehearsals. Why is she even allowed to work on the script? Like, bless his heart. There should have just been a hard line in the sand from the get-go. Bless his heart. I'm never going to get through this because it's just me stressing out the entire time. Justin and Jamie met with Blake at the production office. Justin makes comments about praying for Blake's father. Blake later included this as one of the infractions in her all hands meeting before phase 2. Can you imagine being the kind of person where you can't even say, I'm praying for your father? So then we have Alex expresses concern about Blake changing scenes. So it looks like it's May 1st, 2023. Alex says she's fixing the script. She's now directing the movie. This is bad. Yeah, so that started in May 2023. Prep HR training meeting. So beginning in May, respect in the workplace. Still in May, Blake Lively informed production that her baby is ill and that she would not be able to travel to Las Vegas. Interesting note is that Blake was seen at Taylor Swift concert just a few days later. Alex says to Jamie in text, the other part of me is wondering if this is all a ruse, getting to her ultimately pulling out of the movie later this week when the strike escalates, depicting the friction already. Vegas, May 8th, Vegas shoot canceled due to Blake's children being sick. This delayed the shoot for 1 week and also cost production money. I imagine everything would have been paid for. May 11th, Justin recorded rehearsal with Jenny. Jenny called out Tat. She was not comfortable with this. With having the rehearsal recorded and you're not comfortable? What was wrong with these people? Shoot day 1, City Hall. May 15th, paparazzi photos have been published showing unflattering photos of Blake Lively. This sent Sony producers and Justin into a frenzy because they had long felt that the wardrobe choices Blake was making were not in the best interest of the film. There was a lot of chatter about how to get Blake Lively to compromise on wardrobe. Do you guys remember this? I specifically remember all of this going down, and I knew Blake Lively as Ryan's wife. I didn't know the movie. I didn't know Justin Baldoni, but I do remember all of that bad press she was getting. So is she going to say that, the smear campaign started back then? She's insane. Pre-production, May 12th, Justin and Blake potentially met to write Pink Draft, Blake's house, ? Table read. Why is so much happening at Blake's house? Like, she has so much control that everything has to happen at her house. Okay, so this is another one I wanted to talk about. May 16th, meeting in Blake Lively's trailer regarding wardrobe concern. Justin Baldoni tears up. Jamie Heath looked in her direction while in trailer, and we all know Blake's biggest problem with this is that Jamie Heath looked her in the eyes. Not that he looked at her boobs, that he looked her in the eyes. In the morning, JB and Blake Lively discussed production wardrobe, and Blake Lively made some remark about how Taylor Swift said the fans don't know what they want until you give it to them, in defense of her wardrobe choices, which were being trashed online. I 100% believe Taylor said this. And the reason I believe Taylor said this, because that quote is from Steve Jobs. So he, in regards to talking about, and I have a reel I just posted on Instagram about this, in talking about technology, he's saying people don't know what they want until you give it to them. Now, the original person to say something in that vein was Henry Ford. It's one of my favorite quotes in business. And like anyone that's in branding or marketing knows this quote. And Henry Ford said, if you ask people what they want, they'll say faster horses, not a car. And so what both Henry Ford and Steve Jobs are getting at is in many sectors, especially technology, people don't know what they don't know, right? People don't know what they don't know. People don't know that a car is available as an option if all they've ever had are horses. People don't know that an iPhone with like a glass screen is an option if all they, if what's popular is a BlackBerry and flip phones. They don't know what they don't know. And so where the argument used to be is you kind of go like step by step and by step and bring the market with you, bring people with you. But what these two innovated was around the lens of just do the leap. Just do the leap. So give people what they don't know, they don't know. And I believe Taylor because it kind of reminds me. Did you guys see the interview where she's trying to explain to people what she means by she gets the check before it hits the mahogany grain, and she's trying to like it's like I'm paying the bills, and she's just like going in and like how smart and clever it is. And so I can 100% see her saying things in conversation where it's like I'm saying this to sound very smart and clever. If I'm being quite honest, I've always said she's the psychology genius in her brand. I am now more and more convinced as I go that it's other people and she's simply the face. But I do believe that she hears things said around her and she picks up on them. And that would be something I could definitely see Taylor Swift saying. And then Blake repeats it. The problem is where Taylor and Blake got this wrong is this does not apply to wardrobe. This does not apply to like aesthetic choices in a movie. You cannot say the fans don't know what they don't know, especially for a freaking book that people have had mental images of how these characters look. They have created a universe in their own mind of how they should look and how it should play out and what Lily should look like and what her clothes should look like. This does not apply. Blake and Taylor are Delulu if they think this quote applies. It just doesn't. So I believe those two women thought that this was like some kind of big win for this trash wardrobe. So further, she said JB a compliment on this day. She paid JB a compliment on this day, and JB, in hearing it, teared up. This would later be weaponized against him, as Blake Lively would insist that JB was in her trailer sobbing about how she looked old. Blake is a very insecure woman. She's upset because she weaponizes against him because he thinks she looks old. She's upset because he asked her trainer or his trainer her weight because of his bad back. So she takes it as fat shaming. She is so sensitive. Jill, remember, or welcome as a member. We will be going live tomorrow around 11 a.m. Eastern. I hope you can join us. Shannon, thank you again. I remember Blake Lively getting bad press. Yes, that's a good point too. After the Kate Middleton Photoshop Betty Boo's Buzz scandal. Yes, this is at least 8 months before Wear Your Florals, before Jed. That's also a great point. I remember that. That was horrible. Even if, and this is what always rubbed me the wrong way about that, even if you can argue that like she didn't know that Kate had cancer, you still don't like, why do you have to make fun of another woman like that? Like, it was so inappropriate. That's a good point, though. I forgot about that. Lily Bloom's 5/17/2023. Today we shot at Lily Bloom's flower shop location. We completed all the scheduled scenes, although we did not shoot scene A27, which was if time permits. 5/18. This is the day that Justin would have said sexy to Jenny. She's wearing black leather pants while doing the cleaning Lily Bloom's montage. So yeah, like none of this is like, this happens, so we have to destroy Jenny or destroy Blake. They're just giving their crisis PR team a timeline of events so that the team's not blindsided. The 18th, this is the day that, oh no, we already read that. 5/19, hospital day, 2023. JB texts Blake Just wanted to check on you this morning after last night. Feeling okay? Question mark. Anything I can have ready for you on set? That abuser. The audacity of him. The audacity. Asking if she's okay. Maybe he also added sending prayers so you feel better. Double whammy of egregious behavior. Oh, it's just unbelievable. 5/22/2023, crew badges became mandatory and then they had to include a photo. Pardon me? Blake requested everyone in the crew wear name tag badges with photos. Said this was standard protocol on all sets. This was not a standard practice that anyone else on the set was familiar with. Wayfair, of course, accommodated this request. She's like had control from day one. 5/23/2023, Justin made sexy comments. Jamie showed birth video. Sexy comment happened on set in between takes while JB was giving direction. At the end of day, at 9 p. Justin Baldoni sends text to Blake Lively. I'm not going to tell you that you were amazing because you teased me for being so sentimental, but you were amazing today. Well, you know he's a good actor when he could say that to Blake Lively. I mean, you have to be an amazing actor to say that to Blake Lively. Blake Lively to JB reply, thank you. I do appreciate it. I'm just a ball buster, but it means a lot to me. I care a great deal and always want to deliver. You were terrific. I'm proud of everything we did today, but really every day. You know, here's the thing. Yeah. Allegedly, it's all alleged. Don't sue me and don't send me a subpoena. Her kind of sarcastic humor, if her and Ryan weren't horrible people, is kind of like my humor. I'm really sarcastic. And a lot of people take it wrong, or like I'm really just like I deliver things really dry. And I feel like if they weren't horrible people, they'd be kind of the people that I would hang out with. But they're horrible fucking people. Like you can be a ball buster, you can be sarcastic, you can kind of have a sarcastic sense of humor. I'm here for that. But then you weaponize it. You turn it against people. You use it against people. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to behave like that, but other people aren't. And then you sue people for stupid shit after you take over their movie. Oh, Khaleesi, thank you, ABE, in this community member for 3 months. I just love you to bits. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. This week, I know I haven't been active much this week, guys. I have, for those that are newer, I also run a coaching and consulting business. And so I had 2 brand VIP days, which is literally a 6-hour day working with one client. So you hire me, we have a full 6-hour day and we work on the foundations of your brand. I had launched the Overwhelm Reset workshop. So that is dropping December 15th, the Overwhelm Reset workshop. And I'm recording a bunch of pre-work for it. So there's going to be a whole almost like mini course as the pre-work. It's going to be incredible. So I was working on that. And then I was also working on the radical happiness movement. There's just a lot that's been going on this week. I'll drop the link for the Overwhelm Reset if you guys wanted to hang out with us and join us there. So when business is really busy, I can't be here as much. But I love hanging out with you guys, and it makes me sad when I can't be here. But yes, this week has just been insane. And then on the days where I do brand VIP days, and it goes from like 9 till 3, 3:30, or 10 to 4, 4:30, I'm like spent. I sit in a cave before them and like, I don't know, like charge my batteries. And then afterwards, I just crash in bed. All right, we have 5/24/23 to 5/25/23. Maybe when Blake Lively and Jenny Slate call Ange. Ange informs JB and JH that they called to complain about sexy comment and birth video. Canceled call COVID 05/26, 05/31. Blake COVID shut down all day. Blake contracted COVID 5/31. JB apologizes again to Blake Lively and Jenny Slate via text sent through Alex Sachs that he is aware of their concern regarding the sexy comment after they've said that word 6 million times. Shoot day 10, Atlas House. 6/1/2023. Production resumed shooting. Blake told Alex, Justin, and Jamie to her trailer to discuss the complaint she had with them. 6/3/2023. Blake Lively invites JB into her trailer while she's pumping. 6/2/2023. Justin and Blake potentially meet to make script changes at her apartment. More script changes. AJ emailed Yellow revised pages that night. 6/3/2023. Jamie calls Julie Bloom to let her know we are letting her go. He goes on to say she's pissed. Alex, Jamie, and Justin had already spoken the replacement AD, Alex Finch, about coming on board. Wow. Shoot day 12, Alex apartment. 6/3/2023. Mirror shower scenes, section 91. This would be the first nudity scene of production. Lindsay Gottlieb, Blake's lawyer, took issue with this as at the time a nudity rider had not been signed. Wasn't that a Blake problem? Isn't that a Blake problem if the nudity rider hadn't been signed? I'm confused. If she's not signing her shit, how is that a Justin problem? That does not make sense to me. Farmers Market, shoot day 13, 6/5/2023. Strike shutdown day. Picketers shut down set. We tried to add Ferry SC, which would put us far away from the picketers, but Blake wouldn't cross picket line. Shoot day 15, 16. The Root. The Root? I wonder what that is. Is that a bar? Oh, yeah, shooting at the Root. 6/7/2023 to 6/8/2023. Resumed shooting at the Root due to bad air quality. Justin and Alex had their thing on set. Alex insisted that JB already had the shot and did not need to do another take. JB sternly responded that I will decide. Alex ended up leaving set shortly thereafter. Really? What is it with all these people trying to tell him to do his job? Alex insisted that JB already had the shot and did not need to do another take. JB sternly responded that I will decide. It's his movie. It's his movie. What is wrong with these people? Unbelievable. No wonder he ended up in the hospital. And Jed Wallace had heart issues, I think, is what Blake put out on the docket. I'd be having heart, I'm not going to lie. I would be having heart issues too. If I was behind all those fucking websites and it was at risk of all coming out, I would be having heart issues too. I'm not even going to lie. Oh, what a mess. This whole situation's a mess. Oh, 6/13, 1 AD Alex Finch and team are diligently working on plan to complete shooting before SAG strike on 6/30/23. Strike shuts down. Justin and Jamie emailed the crew, so they wrapped, shut down. Looks like June 13th, 14th. June 14th, Blake Lively flies to London, refuses to return to work. Her rep at the time told us plainly that we can sue her to return to work, but she would not be happy. These people are insane. Thank you so much for the support. Oh, your puppers. What a beautiful puppers. For your fur babies. Thank you for all your rescue work. Thank you for being here. What a beautiful puppers. I can't even imagine saying this to people. This is just so wild to me. Production resumes June 16th, 2023 without Blake, young cast only. Wrap phase 1 on June 27th. 8/8/2023. JB texts Blake to let her know that it was his last day in the edit and says happy birthday. JB texts Blake. Blake Lively did not respond. 10/14/2023. JB sent latest approved Sony script to department head to use for schedule and budget. 10/29/2023. EP/UPM travels to NJ. Who's EP and UPM? 11/5/2023. Justin, Jamie, John, Logan travel to New Jersey. 11/9/2023. Lindsay sent confidential protection letter to Wayfair on behalf of Blake Lively. 11/15/2020. Like, what happened? So she's all of a sudden not responding here. A sexy comment like that. Like, we've gone through step by step, and I don't see anything that makes sense on how things fell apart like this. 11/15/2023, shooting pushed to January due to Blake not willing to work. 11/17/2023, Jamie and Justin traveled to LA. 11/21/2023, brought on Todd Black. 11/22/2023, they pushed phase 2 to January. So everything keeps getting pushed back. 11/28/2023, Amin and Lindsay agree via email to the 17-point protection letter. It's not signed until 1/18 though. 12/13/2023, Blake Lively working on script revisions. It was widely understood by those in production that Blake Lively was working on script revisions, which delayed prep and expanded the budget. Why? This is what I can't wrap my head around. Can anyone please answer this for me? I just can't, like, all of a sudden she's not responding to his messages and she's rewriting scripts. One 5/2024. Oh, no, let's go back up. So 1/2/2024, all LA crew traveled to New Jersey. 1/5/2024, first day of phase 2. 1/7/2024, Blake Lively sent script revisions day before shooting. Blake Lively sent JB and production team script revisions day before shooting with cuts and changes that she deems fit. This is highly irregular behavior by an actor. No kidding. This also makes it near impossible for production to be prepared when script is being changed less than 24 hours before shooting. I agree. Not talented enough to be given the amount of deference she was given with this film. I agree. Like, who is she? Bruce, I don't always rewrite scripts, but when I do, I have my wife sit precariously on a rooftop ledge. This is so good. Ryan was probably hoping she just like falls over the edge. That is hilarious. You can always count on Bruce for some levity. This is just wild. I'm just sorry. I always do you guys know if you've been here for a while, anything like this I do with you in real time. I don't read it in advance. And so you just, yeah, I don't even know what to say to this. 1/18/2024, protection letter signed by Blake Lively, nudity rider signed. Oh, congrats, Blake. You finally learned how to use a pen. 1/26/2024, last day shooting in New Jersey. 1/29/2024, director's scout. 2/5/2024, Blake Lively sends JB and producer script revisions. Oh my God. Oh. This is 2 days prior to shooting. She is stepping in as a director and not looking for input from Justin. What? Production wraps. 2/9/2024. Justin's director's cut period begins. 10-week period. Wayfair informed by Sony that Blake Lively wants time in the edit room to work with JB. Otherwise, she wouldn't stand behind the picture. But I thought he was so abusive and it was so toxic. But you want to work with JB in the edit room? Okay. She did not show up for the first day of edits with Justin. Can you imagine? Like, I came and put myself in the shoes of being Justin in this. Blake Lively joins Justin in the edit one day. Blake was in the edit for only one day with Justin. 3/8/2024. Oh, it's the test screening on Sony lot. JB, friends and family overall score 88%. Non-official test screening only did scorecards and uploaded results here. Shared scorecards with Blake Lively directly after screening. Blake Lively requests to work on film without JB. Ooh. Wayfair agreed to give her 4 days to work through her ideas. Blake Lively worked with editors. Like, see, here's the thing. How do you ever play the angle that I had no power? I was at a disadvantage on set. This was a powerful man that was taking advantage of me, a powerful man that was making the set toxic. I had no recourse. I had no one to go to. I had no say. Like, how do you play this in front of a jury of making people believe that you weren't the one in control the whole fucking time? How did she think this was smart? I just need to know, how did she think this was smart, releasing this or including this? 4/22 to 5/1, she was granted time to edit on her own. She requests more time to edit without him. 3/28/2024, JB Denver test screening number 1, overall score 76. One person from Blake Lively maximum effort team attended screening. She's got like all these little plants everywhere. 5/2/2024, trailer release. Blake Lively threatens to hold up trailer release in order to get more time in the edit. Oh my God. Blake Lively would not approve the trailer. We had also wanted to use Taylor Swift's song, and Blake Lively threatened to call Taylor and not allow it. 5/3/2024, Wayfair granted Blake Lively one time in the edit. Blake Lively brings in new editor Shane Reed. Wayfair approved Blake Lively to work with new editor. Jesus. 5/3/2024, Alex shares concern that with Jamie that Blake will want directing credit. Speaks to motive for JB and Wayfair, feeling that we might need to protect Justin from unknowable claims Blake might have. Okay, so I'm guessing Blake thinks this is so clever. She's like, see, it proves that they knew there might be a lawsuit coming. So she thinks, and her lawyers think this is somehow going to make us be on her side. 5/6/2024, trailer launch influencer event at Sony. JB divulges to see Colleen Hoover all the behind the scenes drama that went down. Tells her about the sexy comment. Both Colleen Hoover and her friend Terry are empathetic in the situation. Oh, so Colleen was included in every step. She was involved. She did hear everything that was going on, contrary to what she just said in her new interviews. Colleen calls Brendan Sklenar and divulges details of the dinner Colleen Hoover had with JB, JH, and Taryn Fisher to him. We later hear from Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, that this dinner made her uncomfortable. So she immediately turns on Justin. Okay, cool. You're all assholes. You're all snakes. 5/13/2024, JB Aliso test screening. Is that a place? I don't know. Aliso Viejo? I don't know. I'm not American. Sorry, guys. Overall score 86. 5/24/2024, Blake Lively, friends and family screening, overall low score. Todd Black, Colleen, Bradley Cooper, there you go, Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy, Gigi present. We didn't find out Colleen Hoover would be there until after Todd Black told Jamie Heath. This was a surprise as Colleen had no relationship with Blake Lively up until this point. 5/28, Jamie Heath texts Colleen. So Colleen responds to Jamie Heath that she doesn't want to be in the middle and that we should find a way to work together. So she's on Blake's side. Like, I don't want to be in the middle. I don't want to hear from everyone. Like, just figure it out because I've already chosen my side. I swear I'm intelligent. I've already chosen my side. I don't know. Maybe Colleen would put it that way. She probably did while she's drinking Pepsi ice cubes. She already chose. She already knew whose side she was going to be on. All right, so we'll zoom a little bit. So we have Blake Lively's test screening. She gets an 81 here. So 83 on the one, 81 on the other. She brings on new composers, Rob and Duncan. Brian Tyler, composer, is fired. We have Book Bonanza, June 13th, 2024. Blake Lively, Colleen Hoover, Brandon Sklenar, Isabella Ferrer, Alex Sachs attend Book Bonanza in Texas. Sony was not aware that Brandon and Isabella would attend. This was something that Blake Lively personally paid for, their travel and hotel. After conversation Alex Sachs had with Brandon Sklenar, Alex Sachs informed Todd Black that she would no longer be speaking with Wayfair. What? So she was originally on their side and supporting them and then turned. Jamie Heath reached out. She did not respond to any calls or texts. Per Todd's conversation with Alex, Todd understood that none of the cast present would do any press with Justin Baldoni. So not only did Blake Lively had Isabella Ferrer in her bed for sleepovers, but also paid for their travel and hotel. Oh my goodness, I'm already yawning. I need a nap and it's only 12:30. Josh G speaks to Blake Lively about Book Bonanza. Josh G speaks to Blake Lively and Ryan and Blake Lively. Oh, and Blake Lively states that she thinks JB should continue to do press and she will take a picture at the premiere, but she did not want to do any press with him. She also told Josh that the younger cast does not know anything, only the inner circle and the loop on the drama. Like, there is no drama. She's the drama. Blake is the drama. This is wild. Yeah, she played the whole movie at the screen. She had no right to, and it was Blake's version. Yeah, and she even like joked around about it. She thought she was so clever like her husband, because that's what Ryan Reynolds did. Like, he took Deadpool and leaked it to get people on his side. She played Ryan's playbook and thought she was so fucking clever. Wow. 6/20/24. Blake granted producer credit by Wayfair and Sony. Blake reached out requesting that she be named producer on the film. Wayfair said okay. Blake Lively reached out to JG to demand that JB and JH write letter to PGA. I would have told her where to shove her stupid letter. At this point, though, I can see where like Justin and Jamie were just thinking, I just have to get this done. We just have to get to the other side. We like, let's just go. Whatever. I don't care. JH conveyed to JG that Wayfair, JH, and JB would not be writing a letter to the PGA on her behalf. Blake Lively then said, any goodwill I had for JB is now gone. Wow. She is psycho. 6/25/24, JH reached out to Blake Lively to request phone call to share feelings around the PGA letter at her request. Blake Lively refused to get on the call. 6/27, JB and JH sent PGA letter on behalf of Blake Lively for the PGA mark. He also sent an internal email to say that they only did this because of extortion leveled by Blake Lively. 7/7/2024, Lindsay sent cease and desist letter to Wayfair, read coffee table making of It Ends With Us book. Blake Lively's team saw pre-sale flyers for the book and saw that Blake Lively's name was on the cover. Additionally, her body double was used on one of the collage items in the cover. I am responded to Lindsay on the same day to let her know that we will remove the name and images from the books. Oh my God. This is insane. 7/9/2024, Colleen Hoover reached out to Joanna Atria to inquire about the book. Colleen Hoover was concerned that she did not realize that none of the cast was included in the book. She didn't feel comfortable with this. Oh, they email Atria emails JH to let him know they're pulling the coffee table book and won't publish. Joanna was really disappointed and texts Colleen Hoover context as to why cast was not included in the book. She also said Blake wins. 7/10/2024, Roger. Oh my God, guys. I'm going crazy from reading this craziness. I can't even read anymore. Roger Ebert interview discussion with Company 3. Ugh. Ryan Reynolds calls Patrick Whitesale WME. Ryan Reynolds reached out to Patrick to tell him their side of the story. What side of the story? That you took over a movie? That you're insane? That side of the story? Ryan Reynolds speaks to Danny Greenberg. Ryan Reynolds calls JB a deranged predator. He also says that they want to put this fiasco behind them and don't want anything to do with JB after August 9th. Ryan Reynolds mentions that no one from the cast and Colleen want him at the premiere. He asks Danny Greenberg why he is coming. It's his movie? Like, why are you there? Why is Hugh Jackman there? Why is Gigi there? Didn't she show up at one of these? I'm pretty sure she showed up at one of these, or which that the Wolverine one that she randomly showed up at. Like, why are y'all there? Why is Britney Spears dressed there? I have more questions about why Britney Spears' dress is at this premiere than why JB's at the premiere. By the way, that dress is just a classic and should have been left alone. All right. Josh G calls Jamie to let him know Blake Lively threatened a Nod 10 premiere if JB goes. Josh G calls Jamie to let him know Blake Lively threatened to Nod 10 premiere. All right. 7:30, 2024. Blake Lively team tells Sony that JB needs junket on separate day. Yeah. 8/3/2024. Wayfair officially on boards tag PR and street relations. Okay, let me know if I'm insane. But to me, after seeing all of this, hi Annie, are you trying to say hi? But I don't have my proper setup. I know I don't have my proper setup because nothing was working today. I'm sorry that you can't really say hi. There you go. You can say hi. So for me, after everything that happened, it just seems completely reasonable to bring in crisis PR. It seems completely reasonable. This does not seem retaliatory at all. I can't even find anywhere in this where you could argue that it's retaliatory. For what? What is the retaliatory piece? He had his movie taken away from him. The cast went talk to him. He was put in the fucking basement. He was called a predator. Where is the retaliatory piece? This is Blake. Was it Ryan that convinced you to put this on the docket? Was it Ryan? It was Ryan, wasn't it? Girl, it was Ryan. I'm convinced Ryan convinced Blake and the lawyers to put this on the docket. I can only imagine this was meant to be sabotage of Blake and her case. Thank you so much, April. I appreciate it. How do you see Hollywood trying to course correct from this? It's a good question. More or less whistleblowers, do you think quality will be sacrificed for caution? That is those are all great questions. I think Hollywood's going to try and bury it as much as possible. And my opinion is Ryan's going to be the weak link, in my opinion. He's useful right now. So backing him, like Ari and all of them backing him, makes sense for the entire industry at this point. But I think he's a weak link. So if it ever gets to a point where they have to have the sacrificial lamb, Ryan's got to watch his back. I've said this. Blake and Ryan, don't say I don't do anything for you. I've said this. Y'all got to watch your backs because Ryan is the weak link here. And if they have to throw him under the bus to course correct and be like, hey, they're the problem children, basically. And, we got rid of them. They will. And more or less whistleblowers. It's a good question. I think my opinion right now, I would say I don't think much is going to change overall unless again, but then they would throw Ryan under the bus and then I think things would just keep going the way it is. I'd expect it to stay about the same. And quality sacrifice for caution, another great question. It's interesting that question because I had thought, careful about biting the hand that feeds you essentially in the sense of they can bring in AI, but now look at the whole thing with Jeremy Renner and Yizu, and he didn't give approval for his likeness to be used in AI, and now there's already lawsuits in regards to that. Those are great questions to sit with, though. I think the way they would course correct is throwing Ryan under the bus, and it would be an easy out for like the powers that be. We'll see how bad it gets. So Blake Lively refuses to walk the red carpet with Justin. Oops, that's way too big. 12/14/2022. Oh, this might be what one of the lawyers had talked about, two different timelines that were included. So I think it's just like the same thing, but two people sent it off. Yeah, it's just repeating the same thing. I don't know, guys. What do you think about all of this? Let's see if anything news on the docket. What do you think about all this? I'm just like, I'm struggling to wrap my head around all of it. Look at all of this. This is just insane. This docket is insane. So it's nothing new. Yeah, there's nothing new unless something got unsealed lower down. And let me check X quick because I know everyone's really good over there on. I'll just check a couple places before I let you guys go. I wonder if that's about this case. Let's just pull up that. Not Actually Golden has a new video. Let's see if it's about this case. Hi, Annie.
Hello. I had to scrub my brain clean. This is what happens when I take time off and I don't know how to describe it, but it's basically like, when there's crumbs on a table and you like wipe all the crumbs off the table, like, that's what I do to my brain. And so my brain is kind of coming back clean now. And I realized I needed to chart out all of the dispositive motion arguments that have been made by claim, because as the responses come in on, Tuesday, Wednesday, I need to be able to then match them up. I have a separate document for myself that has columns for MJOP response and MSJ response. And as that stuff comes in, I will fill that in and then figure out how to share that with you. Because I think it's important that for those of you who are interested in this case, but also those of you who are just interested in understanding how this stuff works in general, that you see like the menu of options that the judge is being given, right? So feel free to save this. Maybe at the end, I'll stop talking and I'll just leave each one up for a minute if you want to screenshot these. But so you can see that for many of these claims, the judge has options in both places. He has judgment on the pleadings options, and then he also has summary judgment options. Now, a lot of these are duplicative, right? So like the no extraterritorial application of California law applies to all the California claims. But I think I captured pretty much everything that was in. I went through each motion. I went through each argument. So like when you look at the breach of contract claims, the loan out agreement and the rider, those are the only claims where there are not MJOP arguments. There are only MSJ arguments. And that's because that's the way that contracts work. And because we have an enforceability question. So again, we've got multiple arguments, both purely legal and then legal, but also facts can be introduced. Because I think what Lively's going to do, what I would do if I was Lively, is I would just file responses. They're going to, of course, going to address the legal arguments, but they're going to throw out a ton of facts. They're going to throw out a ton of facts that are like, here's why we have all these facts, and it's got to get in front of a jury. And so it's probably going to start to be hard to match all those facts up to which claims they go to. So this just helps me stay organized. This is what I do in my work, by the way. Like, I'm a chart girl. Always have been, always will be. I need things to be, because I feel like also, sometimes, like, I've worked with a lot of lawyers in the past, man, who don't chart things out and they miss shit. You miss stuff. Like, sometimes you're like, oh my God, I forgot that we were also arguing this, or they were also arguing this with this. Like, this is foolproof. And also, when you create something like this as a lawyer, you are also helping all of the other people working with you, like paralegals and legal assistants and associates and clerks who are doing research. And so, you know, I oftentimes create these things for myself, and then I give them out to whoever I'm working with, other lawyers even, because I feel like it's nice for everybody to be on the same page. And then here's the others. So they've got multiple menu options for every single claim. On the contract claims, there's only MSJ menu arguments options. But the judge has multiple paths. And again, I think this is why this is going to take a while. I think this is why people need to not think the judge is just going to rule on summary judgment in like 2 weeks. I mean, look at all the things that he has to sift through, and he has to have somebody read all the case law and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, now I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to take my face off the screen, and I'm going to just leave.
So check out Not Actually Golden on TikTok. There's another video here. We'll see if she talks about it at all. And you can take those screenshots.
Hello.
I do like what this person, and I see what this person's saying here. This is very organized and informative. My concern, probably my HR brain, JB wants to be seen as not having participated in SH versus the law says it wasn't severe enough, or that Blake Lively wasn't an employee, so it's a technicality. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Like, how would you feel, guys? I want to hear from the community. How would you guys feel? Because that's an interesting comment, where if I was in Justin's shoes, like, does he have to pick? I mean, I don't know the law. Does he have to pick? Because for me, if I was in his shoes, I'd be like, no, I don't want it to be a technicality. I don't want it to be that it wasn't severe enough. I want to make sure it's clear that this did not happen, period. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Thank you so much. You guys are so kind. Oh my goodness. Honestly, you guys have no idea how much this helps with getting all the animals ready for winter. I appreciate everyone so much. And I will get you guys the Amazon. What are you being sassy about now? You like Not Actually Golden. Is her voice relaxing? I will put her back on in a minute. It helps so much with the animals. The line of thinking, or the line of people waiting to drive the bus over Ryan will be so long, it will make old school Black Friday sales look like nothing. Oh yeah, you get those floodgates and like people give the okay that it's open season on him. It's not going to go over well. You're like you said, there's going to be a bus load of people waiting in line. And that's where you're going to see a lot of whistleblowers. But it's similar to like the Weinstein issue, right? It's like the industry gave the okay for him to be the scapegoat, not to say he didn't do anything wrong or he's a good guy. But let's be honest, this shit goes on in the industry all the time. And then it was just like the floodgates open. And you look back and people have been trying to call him out for a long time. There were people calling him out, women calling him out for a very long time, but the industry kept it under wraps. The industry kept trucking along like it always had until the industry gave the okay. And it was acceptable. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I made the list. Thank you so much for the support, guys. Broccoli for Annie. Annie does broccoli for you. This is broccoli. Thank you, guys. I know your usual setup isn't there and it's making you frustrated because you can't hang out with your friends. Yeah. And Annie says, just a reminder, if you like parrots like me, there might be a local rescue that has some parrots available, right? We are in like a parrot crisis in Ontario, Canada right now, where like the amount of surrender requests are just insane. So many getting surrendered. So just a public service announcement from Annie. If you like parrots or you're thinking about getting a parrot, check your local rescue. They're a lot of fun. They're demanding. You turn into a parrot. Sometimes I feel like I've turned into a parrot. You turn into a pirate. I walk around the house with her just like hanging out on me. Came in, get ready in peace anymore. Thank you so much for the support. Blake Lively did the same to Reese Witherspoon. Yeah, I've heard a lot of issues between her and Reese. Blake just can't. She's got issues with everyone. She just cannot. And it's going to be a hard lesson for her if Ryan, I don't know if Ryan will leave her though, because I read that they don't have a prenup. So I don't know. He might be stuck with her for life. Let's see what else.
Seems like all the companies got together and were like, you know what? Black Friday is 25% off. Everybody's 25%.
Oh, she's talking about Black Friday. Okay, this isn't about the case. Love her, but she's talking about Black Friday. All right, let's check out Google really quick before I let you guys go. I think I have a little bit more time that I can hang out. I've been asked a lot just now that I'm thinking about it to do kind of like a road so far on the whole Amanda Ghost Rebel Wilson case. So I have a whole playlist on it, but I've had requests of like, can you do just a recap on the road so far for it? Is that something you guys would be interested in? Because I can do one. I'd have to refresh my memory on all the steps of the case. No, that is a crazy case. That is just, it is wild. But if that's something, if you guys are like, yeah, I want to be up to date on it before Amanda Ghost files more, especially in regards to Jed and Melissa, let me know. All right, so this is Blake Lively news. Taylor Swift, Hugh Jackman, that is the headline across the board. Oh, I did want to mention this. So I've had some DMs asking about this and saying, you know, what are your, oh my God, all the ads. But, you know, people get mad at like Candace for monetizing her channel talking about Charlie Kirk. But, you know, we have the amount of money, all these automatic playing ads and everything. They get paid right away. They make a fortune on these. Okay, so this headline, people, Taylor Swift, Hugh Jackman allegedly witnessed Ryan Reynolds confront tearful Justin Baldoni about fat-shaming Blake Lively. Ryan Reynolds allegedly unloaded on Justin Baldoni about how horrible it was he would ask about a woman's weight during the April 2023 encounter. So this is by Benjamin Van Hoos and Elizabeth Rossner. Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman were allegedly in the room when Ryan Reynolds confronted Justin Baldoni over Blake Lively's It Ends With Us. You sneezing? Fat-shaming concerns within a newly unsealed exhibit and the ongoing legal battles, a timeline of events sent from Wayfair Studios founder Jamie Heath's team to Baldoni's publicist over email in July 2024. So I've had people ask and say, you know, what are your thoughts on people running this because, you know, they're in Blake's pocket? You know, if we wanted to really split hairs and say that people's in anyone's pocket, I think the top dog in all of this is Taylor Swift. Anyone that's followed Taylor Swift for any length of time, whether as a fan or just following her career, knows that People is where Tree Payne goes to. Now, it doesn't mean they don't go to other platforms. Where her team tends to go, if it's other platforms, is with sources. So you tend to see like a source that would be in a different platform. But if a source, because it's never like Tree Payne said, but if there's an exclusive with a source in People, everyone's like, oh, that's Tree Payne. That's intentional, right? It's like 6 degrees of separation if it ends up in page 6. But if it ends up in People, it's a source, you know it's Tree Payne. So I would say if like anyone, there was a top dog in this fight, it would be Taylor for People. But also as an extension of that, they might lean one way. I mean, you look at some of these big corporations that own and run a lot of these companies, maybe they lean one way or the other. They have certain interests. But at the end of the day, like a TMZ, a People, a Page Six, they're going with a story that's essentially fed to them. They are not docket watching. I know sometimes it can feel like tree pain makes me think of deforestation. Allie, I think that too whenever I think of her name. When we're thinking of like those types of platforms, they go with who plants the stories. They're not docket watching. They're not reading every exhibit. They are not trying to figure out, docket number 874, exhibit 11, this was released or this was unsealed, because it's not like, what you have to keep in mind, it's not new docket numbers that are being added. It's like old exhibits that you have to like go through and figure out where it is. So they're not docket watching. It comes into like who's at the end of the day planting the story. And we've talked about this, and some of my favorites in the PR field have talked about this as well. Ryan Holiday, who wrote "Trust Me, I'm Lying." I don't trust any PR person. Literally the tagline is "Trust me, I'm lying" for PR people. And he left the field and went over to spirituality. But he talks about this as well. The speed at which these publications, People, Page Six, TMZ, have to be on top of such a fast moving news landscape. They're not watching these dockets. They're waiting for someone to really feed them these stories. So usually more than anything, it's not necessarily that like People magazine is like in Blake's pocket. We know from tags, was it the interrogatories of Jen Abel or Tag? I can't remember which one, that they do have, and I think Elizabeth is the person, but don't quote me on that, but I do believe it is this Elizabeth. They do have contacts at People magazine. They do have people they directly reach out to at People. So they do have friendlies in this corporation. So the organization itself, which way they lean, doesn't really necessarily have much to do with each individual reporter. So they'll reach out to the reporter that they have the phone number to, and then that person will run the story. But I would say more than anything, if it seems like a publication like, say, People is leaning one way, more often than not, it's going to be because one team's being more aggressive. So they're feeding more stories. They're planting more essentially. But no, People's not like in Blake's pocket or anything like that. So I don't think this like means something weird or anything. I think, in my opinion, I believe everything that's going to come out in regards to this is going to be from Justin's side. So once we saw the docket unsealed, I had said on social media that I hope that Justin's team runs with this for PR. And within a couple hours, they did. I'm assuming this is Justin's side, as they should. As they absolutely should. And now people are going to, and I see kind of like arguing back and forth on X of people saying like, People, he didn't fat shame her. Why was that in the headline? It's just clickbait. Like, you don't have, and I get it. I don't agree with it either, but it's clickbait. It doesn't mean that this is pro Blake Lively. Blake does not want this in a headline. Blake does not want this in a headline. I saw someone, yeah, there we go. Khaleesi said it. They want clicks. That's exactly it. So the adding the fat shaming thing is just it's clickbait. So it doesn't mean that it's pro Blake. Can you stop being sassy? Come here. Why don't you go play? And I made you this to play with. Okay? I made you that. But yeah, I would say I am 99.9% sure that anything that's going to be coming out now with Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman's name in it is Justin's side. This is Blake's side. This is how Blake is hitting back. Blake Lively wears towel ahead of date night with husband Ryan Reynolds. Like that's all Blake has for PR right now. That's all Blake has. I wonder if she's crashing out on Instagram actually. Oh, no Instagram stories, just her doing her hair. Blake Lively's corset dress and hair belong to Gossip Girl Thanksgiving episode. Or belong in a Gossip Girl Thanksgiving episode. Okay. Do you guys, like, I hate being right so much. I've told you guys to watch when she does stupid ass PR stunts when she's trying to do nostalgia, right? She always talks about Gossip Girl. So there you go. She just can't leave Gossip Girl alone. What's going on with Taylor? Well, I would imagine we're going to see something from Taylor that's going to push this down. Taylor, to this day, has one of the most used examples of SEO manipulation in regards to her jets that is used in marketing circles. So I would imagine we're going to see something that pushes this down. I would be shocked if she doesn't do anything. But it says Celebrity Showdown is trending for her. She witnessed the confrontation. And then you have How to Watch Taylor Swift, the final show documentary. I think the documentary was all timed on purpose. I've had people say, well, how would she know? Well, of course she knew. They knew when discovery would be done. Like anyone's able to map out. She has a whole lawyer team on staff. Anyone would be able to map out how things would go generally. So she's got 59 minutes ago. Final show trailer teases new moments. So we talked about that yesterday. Would she leak more backstage or behind the scenes stuff? Has Sluice just worked out who is designing Taylor Swift's wedding dress? We did mention or was on Instagram. I think we were talking about it on Instagram. What would she say about the wedding? So now it's about the dress. I'd imagine she's going to do something because this a couple teasers and who is designing her wedding dress is not going to be enough to fix this mess. When is the wedding supposed to happen? It's not till like next year, right? They're assuming. Is it like June next year or something they're guessing? I wouldn't even be shocked at this point if they like move the wedding up. Oh, there. I saw she's rethinking about where to do her wedding at. Well, there you go. So more wedding stuff. There was a blind item that apparently Taylor's having second thoughts now about the wedding because he wants to do another year in the NFL. So I don't know. Are they already like planting just in case they have to like break up for good PR for Taylor? It's just wild. Not one bad comment on New Heights IG. I've noticed someone's on standby to delete. I'm sure 100%. If they're not limited, someone's there to delete 100%. There will have to be some PDA between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce to draw attention away. There's going to be something 100%, especially with the weekend coming up. There'll be something. All right, my friends, so much PR. Yeah. That's all I have for you today. That's all I have. It's 2 hours. Thank you for hanging out with me as I crash out over that just insane document. Are you trying to say hi? You trying to say hi? I know. I'm so sorry. She's like, Mom, our setup is wrong. I know. Technology was not working for me this morning, sweetheart. All right. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks for hanging out. If you are in the members, I will see you, the YouTube members. I will see you tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be something to talk about in regards to this mess tomorrow. So I will see you guys tomorrow around 11 a.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the support of the animals. I will get you guys the Amazon wish list. I really appreciate that suggestion. I genuinely appreciate it. I love you guys. Don't sue me. I love you. Actually, don't sue me. SH. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one, my friends. Bye, guys.